And welcome back. In this tutorial, we're going to cover functions. So a function is a way to summarize, a way not to repeat yourself. Is one way to describe it. It also gets into classes being once they have functions, they go off their attributes. But for now, we're going to make a very simple function. First of all, one of the functions I usually like to make is an initialize function to kind of wrap up all the startup stuff into one place. So to do that, let's just type in the word function and let's give it init for short for initialize and put the two brackets like that. I'll go all the way down to the bottom of the file, start a new line, and let's type in. Okay, going to clean everything up. By hitting tab, I can sort everything over to the side. It looks a lot cleaner then and easier to read. Okay, so now we have our basic init function. However, at this point, as it's going through, as you kind of think of the orders of operation I talked about in the first tutorial, it's coming through, it's set in the happy variable, the message variable. It's coming through, it's building both these functions, but this code doesn't actually load. It's just, it's virtually compiled at the point on first read. And then on the init one, once again, this is built but not called. So at the very bottom of the file, I'm going to put in init, and that basically is going to make this the start function. It couldn't be named anything if you wanted to name your start, things like that. I just tend to use init or initialize. It's one of my design habits. Okay, and another thing, like I said before, it's a good way not to repeat yourself. So we're going to start one and call it set message. So basically, we don't have to have this long line each time. So type in function and let's put in set message, the two brackets, and let's go ahead and go down and just type the n, sum that up. And I also put the tab in there. But here's where we're going to want to pull in the variable. For this variable, I'm going to want to call it here MSG for message. And unlike other programming languages, Lua is set by whatever it's set to. You don't have to set integers, strings, booleans, anything like that. It's all assumed, pretty much. So within the set message, I'm just going to slap copy paste over here real quick. We'll put that in, and we're going to pass this variable here, message, right to that. So now everywhere that we have this command, I can basically replace it with this right here. So I'm going to copy paste that, come over this whole thing, and paste over there, leaving the message, which is going to go into and get set to there. Like that, and then down here on this one. Okay, and like I said before with scope in the last tutorial, this is going to be trapped within here, this local variable, not happy message. That doesn't live once end happens here. It no longer exists. Now, if you pulled, for instance, this message up here, it would exist until, see this, it's within this function, so it's going to exist till the end of here. So what we're going to do is just to clean up memory a little bit, because this doesn't need to sit in memory constantly. Right now there's no purpose. If we needed a reason for it to be global, we would pull it back out. But in this instance here, it's really not necessary. So just for example reasons, we'll put the variable right there, and we're just going to call it local. And I do realize this could be taken out, just the string here, and then placed into the message like so. But this is kind of tying into the previous tutorials, so we're going to leave it like that to kind of demonstrate how the attributes are passed through. Okay, go ahead and hit the test button and it'll show everything works. The happy variable was set to true before still, so up there, yep. So it's still going to come up with the same message. So none of the functionality changed on it, but now we have it into a function to with what they could be called. Plus, we have the set function method, which these can be built to be anything more than changing a label. It can change in the objects. May it be a 2D element in the game, a tile, a sprite, an actor, one of the items, or a 3D object. It could retranslate any of the rotation, scaling, and location on it very easily, and do a deep number of other things.